Hello, kit heads. We are talking kit, the home of the greatest football kit content in the whole entire world. We're back after a little unplanned sabbatical. It's full kit rankers. We are back deep inside the rank bank for 10 more shirts to muse over and to fawn over. Definitely fawn over this week for sure. I'm, of course, Double A, and my right-hand man is that side. Is Kit King Dom, obviously. Hi, Dom. How you doing, mate? It's been a little while. You
Yeah,
okay?
mate. I've not known what to do with myself on a Wednesday. I've been like, "Where's the fucking show at?
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do?"
I apologize for that. That's my fault. But no, we're back, and it's going to be a good episode. I can tell tonight. It's a bit of a different slant on Full Kit Rankers. It's more of a celebration rather than us sitting here and just having a go at shirts. Really, is what we normally do.
Yeah, there's literally no danger of me moaning this week saying all these shirts are shit. Absolutely no chance.
No, absolutely not. But everything good in the kingdom?
Yes, the peasants are behaving. I don't know why I immediately went for that. I've got big sausage fingers like Charles as well, so
okay,
yeah, all good. Can't complain, mate.
I'm happy to hear it. Before we get into this week's guests, let's just do a little bit of house. I know you can see them, but we'll give them proper intros. Smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and just share it with your kit-loving friends. You know the dance by now, as we always do on this show. Just the last bit of housekeeping, as you know, or you may not know, the show is obviously sponsored by Retro Football Kits. You can go on their website and get 10% off, a further 10% off what is already 15%, I believe, site-wide. They
40% off in total.
90% off. 90% I'm hearing, yeah. No, so they do 25% off, and you can get an extra 10 with Talking Kit 10. The shirts you see in behind me and on are all from there. So they've got plenty of Ireland shirts, which may give you, if you haven't seen the thumbnail, may give you a bit of a clue of what's coming up on tonight's show. Sorry, I'm absolutely dying here. I don't know what's going on.
Sean Dyson.
Oh, come on, guys. No. I'm not going to, don't get me started on that. Anyway, retrofootballkits.co.uk, 10% off, an extra 10% off what is already discounted prices on their website. Thousands of shirts for you to have a look at. Right, let's get into the guests. We've spoken enough. He's done a Desert Island Kits. I think it was one of the more emotional ones. I think it was a fantastic one. He was a bit, let's just say he was a bit disappointed with his performance. I thought he did well. He did a sterling job. He was like, no. What did you say he was on goal? No, that was the Full Kit Rankers. He was a bit shy. I was like, no, you wasn't, mate. He was absolutely fine. So I promised him a cap on Full Kit Rankers. I think he wants to redeem himself, although he doesn't need to.
Yeah, you know what? After hearing Andy Tate slag off my opinions last time, I had to come on here, set the record straight.
Yeah, that Andy Tate, right? That's the next YouTube boxing sorted, isn't it? Andy Tate versus Mike's Iconic Kits. How you doing, pal? You okay?
Yeah, all good. Bit bored lately with no football on, but hopefully this will fill my gap. So
okay.
I'm not going last. not again.
I don't mind sitting here talking about filling your gap, mate. It's absolutely fine. Whatever.
It's always a pleasure.
Yeah. But everything good with you, mate, and your Iconic Kits, yeah?
Yeah, everything's good, mate.
I love it. Brilliant. Okay, that's great. And obviously, Jay from Retro isn't here. He has ranked. I've ranked this week as well, by the way. I've had to get involved. I thought it's 10 shirts. I've definitely got a rank, so I'm looking forward to it. Right, our next guest, as you can see, very special guest as well, I have to say. I'm quite nervous reading this blurb I've got here now. I don't want to get anything wrong. I don't want to sit here looking like I'm reading it, but then at the same time, I don't.
You've told us that you're reading it.
No, yeah. I'm going to say no. Well, maybe I'm not. It is the wonderful Jonathan Courtenay, and he was the owner of Ireland's biggest sports distribution company, which represented brands such as Umbro, Nike, New Balance, Under Armour, Team Sports, Converse, Kappa, and New Era. He designed nearly every Republic of Ireland kit between 1994 and 2022. He also designed all of the League of Ireland kits for the likes of Shamrock Rovers, St. Patrick's Athletic, Shelbourne, Bohemians, every team. Just every team. I could go on and on and on. Every team. Let's just say that. yeah, and he's a large player. He has a large player-worn football jersey collection.
Hang on, misses, have you, Johnny? He's a large player.
He's a large player. Yeah. He has a large player-worn football jersey collection and replica collection, which he's compiled over 35 years. That's ridiculous. I'll speak to you about that a little bit. Also collects player-worn boots and match-used balls as well. I mean, if you're going to do it, go the whole hog. Balls, boots, and kits. That's all we care about, isn't it, I guess. Jonathan, thank you so much for joining this ramble of idiots.
Thank you for having me. What an introduction that was. It was almost like I wrote it for you.
It is almost, yeah. But how's everything? How you doing? Like I say, it's really nice to have you on.
All good. We had I live in Dublin, and we had in our local area yesterday, we had a community day. So there was a 5K run, and afterwards it finished quite conveniently beside our local bar. So I stood outside for a little bit too long, and now I look a little bit sunburned here. But apart from that, I'm all good.
You look well.
Yeah, you look great. Absolutely great. Loving the jumper as well, with the new Ireland crest as well. It's stunning. So 35 years you compiled a kit collection. It'd be a shame not to ask you how many. What's your magic number? How many have you got in your collection? Do you know?
Oh, I don't exactly know, but I would take a guess that I'm somewhere around 850, 900, I'd say.
Right. So my next question.
It's nonsense. Well, put it this way: a while ago, when I was actually moving the jersey collection around, I bought 6-foot rails, and I bought 800 hangers, and I had to buy 2 more rails and 400 more hangers, and most of that stuff's full. Now, some of that stuff is also, I do have some rugby shirts and some other stuff, some cricket stuff and all sorts of stuff, but the vast majority is football shirts, and I don't know how my missus puts up with me, to be fair.
I think we can all attest to that. I think we've all had that sort of problem before in the past. So obviously tonight is 10 shirts that you've had a hand in for the Republic of Ireland from, I think the earliest one is like 96,
mid-90s.
All the way up to 2022. So it's a massive array of shirts and collections. So for you, I mean, obviously being a proud Irishman, being involved in the designing process and just the process of creating shirts for your national team must be a massive honor for yourself.
Yeah, it's been brilliant. I mean, I had a great I don't actually should have counted up as part of this how many I've actually done, but it's well into the high 30s, probably 40s at this point. But it was actually really hard. It was really hard to pick just 10, because I suppose everybody, like we all know, everybody kind of feels very passionate about football shirts, and they either love stuff or hate stuff and blah, blah, blah. But because I've been involved with so many of the designs, each of them kind of, you leave your mark on each one of them, and it means that you have a kind of odd emotional attachment to them. And I don't want to be too dramatic. They're not quite like your children now, but it's hard. It was really hard to just narrow it down to 10, I have to say.
So normally what we would do is we'd get the shirts, we'd obviously rank them individually, and we'd be vociferous. We'd be going, I fucking hate that one, he's ugly. Yeah. Whereas we need to tread carefully.
Got to be nice to me, or
Johnny's kids.
I'm very sensitive.
Which is why I've ranked and Sean hasn't this week, because
okay.
No.
To be fair, actually, the shirt that Mike's wearing there, that was actually one of the ones that I felt I left out, but it was right on the bubble. I think that's a fantastic shirt, really cool. And I have actually one of Roy Keane's ones from the 2002 World Cup. Still remains unworn. Yeah. For obvious reasons, but that's one of the ones that I still have. So like when Roy dropped out of the squad in 2002, which was obviously massive news around the world, I remember I was out in Japan with the squad at the time, and the World Cup was obviously just about to start, and India and Pakistan, people probably won't remember this, but India and Pakistan were teetering on the brink of going to war with each other, and the headline news on the, I think it was the New Delhi Times or whatever the biggest newspaper is in India, was Roy Keane walks out of World Cup squad. So it just shows you that the impact that football has on the world.
Crazy. Absolutely. Yeah. It seems to just come, everything comes to a stop. I remember, I was old enough to remember that World Cup and that moment, and you think, wow, obviously having Irish heritage, obviously the island nation. I don't support England as it's Brazil and then Jamaica and Ireland for them reasons, obviously heritage and stuff like that. But even for Ireland to lose the captain, the biggest player, was, and you never forget the video of him walking the dog. That's all I see.
It basically nearly caused a second civil war in Ireland. I mean, everybody went, it was you were either on Roy's side or Mick's side, and it was it's crazy. It will still start a row in a pub today.
At least it had the benefit of stopping a war between India.
Anyway, but,
just put the mind of it.
Yeah, it was so divisive, but it was so sad for us as a country who doesn't qualify, certainly for World Cups that often, that we lost arguably the best midfielder in the world at the time, or the most influential maybe midfielder in the world at the time. And he was at his absolute prime. He qualified us, you can't say single-handedly, but he was awesome in the qualifying campaign. And we were in a really tough group with Holland and Portugal, and we split them and we knocked Holland out. And qualified, and we were level on points. We just lost out in goal difference, atop in the group. Like, that's unbelievable stuff from an Irish point of view. So to lose them then when we got there was very, very upsetting, really, for everybody, because that was a World Cup that opened up really interestingly for Ireland. Germany weren't super, even though they got to the final. We got a draw out of them in the group. Possibly, arguably, would have beaten them if Roy was playing. And then we got a very average Spain team and lost on penalties. But our neck, if we had gone by Spain, I think from memory it was something like maybe the US in the quarters, and then maybe South Korea in the semis. I mean, I know this is total pie in the sky stuff, but it's not beyond the rounds that we might have rocked into a semi.
Yeah, had a good squad.
With Roy there, who knows?
No, and obviously the best defender in the world at the time, Gary Breen, getting linked to Barcelona after that World Cup.
Yeah, I think he looked like a centre forward against when he scored against Saudi Arabia from memory, and he had quite a good campaign in fairness. Actually, wrong side, reverse side on the camera. Robbie Keane's first half jersey against Germany from when he equalised in injury time is there behind me, hanging up as well.
That's mental. That's great. That's crazy. All right, so let's get into the 10 shirts. So obviously you said it was really hard for you to pick 10. Would you say then these are your 10 favourite that you've been involved with? If these are the ones that you showcase, or have you tried to do a bit of a mix?
It was a bit of a mix, to be fair. It was a bit of combo. As I said, I found it very hard to just pick 10, but for I think some of the reasons of the shirts that I've given you the pictures of, which are in my collection, because I've kind of ultimately they're all player worn shirts, and they're from some very specific moments in Irish sporting history. So I think that kind of influenced me a little bit in which ones I picked as well, to show you and to tell a story around, I guess, as well.
Brilliant. Yeah, no, absolutely.
Perfect.
Brilliant. Yeah, so right, let's get into the 10 shirts. Like I say, so if you don't know, if you've not seen Full Kit Rankings before, 10 shirts have been sent out to us four here and Jay from Retro. We've all scored them from 1 to 10. 1 being favourite, 10 being least favourite. Each number has a score behind it. And then top up all the scores, and we have our final 10 that we go through and we just talk about, and just be as nice as possible about each and every one. That's what we do here on Full Kit Rankings. Okay, so shirt number 10, and very, very safe to say it was last place. It was only 9 points for this shirt. It is the 2014-16 home shirt, and there it is. I mean, the pictures are great. So these are your pictures that you sent to us, Johnny.
Yeah. I snapped them.
Yeah, I mean, brilliant. So it's come dead last, 9 points. Like I say, Jay had this in 9th place, and he just said, "Is that one?" Yeah, he had 9th place. The only reason he said he's put this 10, this is a funny thing to say, is that he's just seen it too much at retro football kits. There's that many of them. It's just he's just seen it a bit too much, which is.
Well, that would generally tell you it was a popular shirt if there's plenty of them around, right?
Well, exactly. Yeah, it would. You're right. You're absolutely right. It was 9 for me as well. I think there's ones as you go up. I'm really a big fan of. So it was 9 for me also. Let's go. The rankers that are here. Dom, we'll start with you on this one. You had it one place higher than myself and Jay in 8th place.
Mm-hmm.
So for this shirt, tell us what it was that you maybe liked about it. Or maybe
look, I can tell you stuff that I definitely like. I will also tell you stuff that I don't like because I think Johnny knows above many of us, definitely more than me and you, that shirts are divisive and they're probably made to be so in some instances. Not to start any controversies, but yeah, this for me, it's clean as a whistle. Jay, I think on the clean sweep scale, he'd have this. If we were ranking shirts that weren't as visually attractive as some of the ones that are a bit higher up the list. If we were just doing clean shirts, this for me looks like a nice throwback shirt. It looks like it's got elements of heritage to it. And I think other than the newer badge that obviously had to have been used, this with like an older badge on it. Even the newer badge that looks a bit more old school, this kind of cut with the collar and the clean color across the body really works for me. So yeah, I think clean as a whistle as to why I'd like it. And generally, even if it is an Irish equivalent of the 2006 England away shirt that's everywhere, and that can only be a good thing, because when Paddy's Day rolls around, or when there's tournaments that hopefully Ireland do get through to qualifying for, then these will be a lot of the ones which will get picked up, and you'll see these more and more. And I think generally, with the cut as well, they look really good on.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Mike, for you, it was your least favorite shirt from the 10 that we sent out. Give us your thoughts on the 14-16 Ireland home shirt, please, mate.
Well, you know, it's undoubtedly a tidy shirt. Like the collar looks smart and everything, and that whole kind of era of Umbro, I'm a big fan of personally. But I think for me, I just felt like the others just brought a bit more to the table personally. Although having said that, I think this would look sort of, you could just wear this with like a pair of jeans or something. And it just looks smart. It would not draw too much attention, but tidy, clean.
Yeah. I think the collar really does pop against the green. I just feel like for me the sort of badges and the match detail could have been maybe above the number or below the number to give the badge its own little bit of presence. But no, Mike, we'll come to you because Johnny, we'll come to you because like Mike, you had it 10 for you as well on your list. What are your overall thoughts about this shirt, and how was it perceived in sort of the between the Irish fans?
Yeah, listen, it was a good shirt, and it's interesting to listen to the way you guys rank them or the way you think about it. So from my point of view, from the design point of view, what I have to think about while I'm doing the next kits or whatever is really the one before that was the last tailored by Umbro home jersey that we did, and it was very different, and it had a kind of green collar and it had a kind of a rib effect, and you go from something kind of modern to something kind of classic, and you drift around back and forward. So there was a very deliberate reason why that's a very clean, classic looking, almost like a throwback to a 1940s, 50s with the kind of starched white collar look on it, because you can't just bring out something really similar to the last one. So that's one of the reasons why that was such a classic kit. But that was a really good seller, and it'll also be remembered as a positive shirt from most Irish fans' point of view, because it was a successful qualifying campaign. So we qualified for France for Euro 2016 in that shirt, and obviously we got a last minute equaliser against Germany away from home. John O'Shea scored, I think, in his it was maybe 95th cap or something, and then at home we beat Germany, who were world champions at the time, in that shirt. Shane Long, obviously, who signed for me, and it will also be remembered as a quite a good shirt and quite a classic shirt for the results that we got in it.
Absolutely. It's almost like you talk about going from one extreme to the other, and it's almost like the opposite of what. It always reminds me of Nigeria and Nike, how they went from really ridiculous to the ultimate ridiculous.
Yeah.
Where I think, the last shirt they brought out, people were really expecting them to go more simple, go a bit more classic, have a bit more of a simpler, cleaner look, and it went to that big eagle on the shirt, and I'm just like, guys, read the room. Let's have a bit of a. But it's really good that the thought process behind this shirt for you was that, because I think sometimes fans
as I said, I have to think about it differently than fans do. I mean, fans will instantly react, and everybody goes ape shit instantly when a new shirt comes out, and most people are slating it. I always try to say to people on forums and stuff like that, well, wait till you go and see it in the shop. You know, in retail or whatever, you can't just judge by the pictures. You really can't. You have to touch it, feel it, see the small reveal details. And all the other things that go with the kit. And also, generally speaking, people only now kind of take a picture. It's moved into kind of the fashion type thing again, where they're not really, most brands aren't showing a full kit in all its glory for their launch photos. They're doing it with jeans or tracksuit bottoms or whatever it may be, or Gucci jackets or whatever over it. So people are messing around with stuff. So you have to see it with the shorts and socks for me. And you have to be able to touch and feel it before you make an informed, let's say, decision on it. But that does not stop people on Twitter going bananas.
No, absolutely not.
I've had to have a tough skin over the years, because, like, if you took everything seriously, what goes on forums and what you get on your Twitter feed, sometimes you just go, you throw your hat at it. Like, but I was always like, we're trying to do the right thing. We were doing the job a long time. We know what we're at. Just bear with us. And more often than not, people kind of come around over time, unless you do something totally outrageous, which I don't think. The orange shirt behind me, and that got such a. We'll come on to that later, but that got such a bizarre reaction at the start. But now people just can't get them quick enough. If they find them, they're going for hundreds of quid now, and people are dying to get them. So time changes perception on all these things.
Definitely. Funny story. So Paul from Football Kitbox did the Desert Island kits, and we spoke about that shirt and the whole story behind how they were stolen from the factory.
I saw that episode. He actually got that information from me on another podcast. So we're going around in circles on that story.
Brilliant. I should see how many people I've told it to, mate. Honestly, it's just
has it changed at all as it's gone round? Like there's been embellishments. Like, oh my god!
Bizarrely, like it's easy numbers to remember, because it was like the first £1 million robbery that wasn't a bank robbery or a jewelry heist, and everybody remembers what shirt it is because it's infamous. So it hasn't actually gone full Chinese whispers now.
Brilliant. Well, there we go then. Shirt number 10 this week on our list. 9 points overall. It's the 2014-16 home shirt. Let's get into shirt number 9. Bit of a jump in points, up to 17 for this next shirt, and it is the latest or the newest shirt that we have on our list, and it's the 2022 home shirt, which is the last with Umbro before they went to Castor. So yeah, for me it was 8th place. I quite like the camo effect in it. I like the sleeves. I'm a fan of it. I think it's quite nice. I think it's just the list goes up. I think there's just shirts that you just find to have a little bit more of an attraction to, I guess. Jay had this one in. This was Jay's 10th shirt this week. He's not so much a fan of the pattern of the base. I think he'd like it if the collar matched the sleeves. I think he said that would attract him to it a little bit more. Going through the rankers, Mike, let's start with you on this one. And it's your 5th place shirt this week.
I had it quite high, didn't I? I think a lot of these shirts kind of has a bit of a lack of a pattern, and this one just kind of stood out in my mind. And when I was looking at the pictures from before, it really did stand out in my mind, like, quite vividly. And I think maybe that's just because it's so different. It's like you said, it's quite modern. Maybe it's a bit out there. It just really stuck in my. I can't say. I mean, you correct me if I'm wrong, but I can't say I remember Ireland doing too much wearing it. But the picture of the kit just sticks in my head. Maybe just because it's so different, but yeah, I'm a fan. Yeah, I like the pattern a lot.
Yeah, it definitely does hit you in the face. It does stand out massively. Dom, let's come to you next on it. And it was one place lower than Mike. You got it in sixth place for you. So your feelings on the 2022 home shirt?
Yeah, again, it's that kind of glitch camo pattern, which obviously we've seen a lot more like geometrical shapes incorporated within patterns across shirts, certainly over the past couple to a few years. And I think the reason it's been done so many times is because it, on the whole, has been received really quite well. And I'm all for it. And obviously, listening to Johnny on the point from going from a bit more of a chaotic design, this one was preceded by a really quite plain shirt in comparison. So I can understand the logic in having something plain that would appeal to maybe more traditionalists, and then obviously now tying in with the fashion houses that have been bringing kits out, and it's certainly more mainstream. Loads more kids being buoyed by out there designs. I'm not surprised that they've gone from one extreme to the other, as Johnny had explained previously as well. So yeah, I've got a lot of time for it. I think the away for this as well. The orange obviously was maybe a bit of a throwback to that one behind Johnny, but I think as a pairing they work really well, and any kind of home and away pairing together that work well, I've got a lot of time for. So yeah, I really quite like this one.
Yeah, massively, and I'm a big fan of that away shirt that you mentioned as well. Johnny, I'll finish up with you on this one. I think this is the best way to do it. You can kind of school us all on why the shirt is amazing.
It's funny because, again, listen to the opinions. It's interesting when I know the backstory, which is kind of odd in this scenario where you guys don't. So I came up with the concept of this shirt when I was on a flight home from the US. And we were flying into Ireland, and all the flights arrived quite early in the morning. And it was a summer's morning a couple of years ago. And an American lady lifted up the window beside me, and she just said kind of out loud to herself, oh my God, it's just so beautiful. So the sun was coming up. It was a perfect morning, the blue sky, and all you could see was the different fields. You could just see a million different, like they always say Ireland is 40 shades of green, right? So as you look over the fields, all the fields are different shapes. They're not uniform like they are kind of on the continent, stuff like that. They're all different shapes and everything. So I was like, I'm going to take that look of the fields and make it into the pattern of the next home jersey. And that's exactly what I did. And with the way, so basically that is not like a off geometric or whatever shapes or camo. It's actually it's a snapshot of fields from the air coming into land on the plane. So I took it from the idea of the Irish diaspora coming home, and what's the first thing that they see as they're coming into land, and they see the fields and it's green. So that's where the story for that came from. And one of the beautiful things about that jersey is because of the way the pattern was made, every single jersey that was ever sold is unique because the pattern doesn't match up anywhere. So every jersey is different. So anybody who has one of them has a unique, effectively international shirt.
Oh, nice.
I love that. Yeah, that's amazing.
That's class.
Yeah.
Love that.
I love that. That's
right,
amazing.
I'm pointing it a bit higher now.
Yeah, I know, yeah. So he's jumped up.
Yeah.
See, this is the sort of weird shit that goes around in my head when I'm looking at designing things.
I love it.
That. Yeah, that's just made it. I wish I knew that before. I should have done some research.
That's what I'm here for.
Yeah. Amazing. So there we go. What a story. The 2022 home shirt from Ireland. 17 points on our list this week. So it's 9th place overall. Johnny had this in 9th as well. So he was spot on at the moment. Moving on to our next shirt, and it's the 8th place, 18 points. So just beating the last shirt by 1 point. And it's the 16-17 home shirt. This is my bottom shirt. I just like others. But now I'm thinking, that's probably a crossing across a road in Ireland somewhere. The collar is the top of a building or some windows in a famous building, and I'm gonna be taught all sorts, and I'm gonna regret that decision. But that was me. Jay had this one in 8th place and pretty clean. But he said, I think the collar reminded him a bit too much of a rugby shirt, he says. go through the rankers. Dom, let's go kick it off with you again. And it was your 9th place shirt this week. Tell us why, please, my friend.
I think the elements of it, I always love seeing the green, white, and gold on any Island shirt. Will always be a good thing for me to see. But this follows what was our 10th shirt, if I'm right, Johnny. That plain one. This was the one for the season after. So it's got a bit more going on, but generally the diagonal stripes and then the bit panels down the side. I would consider it to be a bit busier than I'd kind of like. Just that there's contrast across the kind of linear aspects as well. So on the whole, nice shirt. I've had one as well, but I got rid of it, so obviously I didn't love it.
Fair enough, mate. Fair enough. Mike, 6th place for you in your list. Yeah, what were your overriding thoughts of this home shirt?
I love the colours. I love the vibrancy of it because I feel like it really does stand out compared to some of the others. And like you said, incorporating the colours, I love it. I think that's what you need in every Ireland home shirt. Like I said, the only thing I think stopped it being a little bit higher is there's just a bit too much going on all over the place, I thought. But other than that, I really liked it. It really stood out to me. Really eye-catching. But yeah, maybe just a little too much going on. No offense, Johnny.
No, don't worry. I'm understandable.
I love that Mike's all dead nervous now. He's like, oh, yeah, so I'm kind of like, also. Johnny, we'll finish off with you. And it was 4th place for you. So I'm really interested to see what the reasons why it was so high up on your list.
Schooling time again, boys. So basically, obviously we'd had that last home shirt that we talked about a couple of minutes ago, which was very classic and very clean and kind of like as I said, a 50s type 60s vibe to it to a degree, with the white starch collar. And we had qualified. So when you want to qualify, I think it's imperative that you use your national colors to the nth degree, basically. So I wanted to bring the neon orange, the really bright orange back in. I think I took the shirt obviously has a cross pattern in it, a diagonal pattern in it, a horizontal pattern, I should say. And I took kind of a bit of inspiration from the 1988 home shirt, which was an Adidas shirt, which had a really sheen kind of green. It was a really bright kind of nearly, you couldn't say reflective, but it was a sheen is really the word. And I wanted to get that into it somehow. So the lighter stripe is where that idea came from. And I think this shirt suffers slightly without the shorts and socks. It makes a stunning kit together. Because we got if you notice that the bottom panel on the sides of the jerseys, the orange and the green, that matches right into the shorts. Yeah. And then you have the orange and the white in the socks as well. I think it's a far better kit than it is a jersey on its own.
Yeah. I got it on screen.
And I also wanted it to be a very bright green, as well. I wanted it to be a very bright green for, obviously, in the Euros, bright colours. We were going to be playing Sweden in the first game, and obviously they wear yellow, so they're going to stand out in the crowd. And green is not a brilliant colour for coming across really well in stadiums. It doesn't kind of dominate, so I wanted to get that flash of orange in as well to just make it that bit more identifiable.
Nice.
Yeah, no, it's nice. The really sharp orange again, see it in the shirt behind you, and I think even in the one me when you use that orange, it's absolutely smacks you in the face, and it's the subtleness of it on that shirt and kit altogether does tie in really well. No, I think I've got this here on there. Yeah, it's obviously got the free sponsor on, but see it in the flesh now, and you can see obviously the vibrancy of those stripes. Really does make it a lot better. Maybe,
as I said, I think it comes together better as a kit than a jersey on its own. Yeah. So and it was also the first time we used. I brought a new font in, so there was a new number and name font, which was a kind of Celtic inspired font, which some people hated, but there was a reasoning for that. I mean, it was you were going to be at the Euros, call out the Irish part of it loud and proud, and don't shy away from the colours of the flag.
Absolutely. Nice. Those little historic tie-ins are always nice as well for me. Definitely. Well, there we go then. Shirt number 8 on our list this week, the 16-17 home shirt. Just 18 points from our rankers. Right, we've got 2 shirts that are joint 6 now, both on 25 points, and it gets even funnier. They're a set. They're both a home and away set, which is crazy. So the way I'll do it is I've done the away first. So the first shirt they're going to see with 25 points is the 2010-2012 away shirt when it decides to come up. And there it is. 7th on my list. I think it's fantastic. I love the round neck. The long sleeve with the cuffs look super, and the two lines going down look really sharp and really cut through the shirt, and it adds that little bit of color. I know I'm a big fan of it. Big fan. The rest of the rankers, Jay obviously will go to him just because he's not here, and he had this one in. Though he had it in 7th as well, and it's very clean and classy, lovely accents and tapings. Really nice collar. The rankers that aren't here. Johnny, let's come to you first. Let's get the story on a shirt, and then we can sort of.
Yeah, this was part of the Tailored by Umbro collection. When we went very much old school, but classic. And these 2 kits, this one and the one that you're going to come on to next, I just absolutely adore. The materials that are used in it are beautiful. There's a kind of tonal stripe, white on white stripe on that jersey that doesn't necessarily show very well in the picture there. And we wore it in the qualifying for Euro 2012, which we qualified for ultimately as well. And I just think we used obviously gold. It was around the time as well that we were going back to the Aviva Stadium after Lansdowne Road had been redeveloped, the old stadium into the new stadium. So we played in Croke Park for a couple of years. So we wanted to kind of pay some sort of homage to the, to older teams and teams of the past who played in Dalymount Park and stuff like that. And that's what we kind of certainly did with the home version, and we had brought in a little bit of a more modern twist with the gold elements, I suppose, into this kit, which looks retro but also looks somehow quite classically modern as well. And the good story about that shirt that's pictured there, which is in my collection, is that's actually the shirt that Richard Dunn couldn't get back to the dressing room to get after he was covered in blood in Moscow. So he ended up with the shirt that had the number 5 written on it. If you're a lot of people remember, there you go. So and they also didn't obviously have the right size for Dunny there either. So
he's been hitting the gym. He's definitely been hitting the gym.
He knew someone was taking a picture there. That's what I do.
Yeah, all the time. Yeah. Big time.
Yeah, he played an absolute blinder that night. I was at the game in Moscow, and we got out of there somehow with a 0-0, and he got smashed up on the sideline. There's a kind of running track there, and he kind of went into one of the steel bars and kind of hit his face and split his lip and his nose and stuff. But he was an absolute hero, as he was many times for Ireland. But he got us a heroic 0-0 draw over there, which obviously helped ultimately get us qualified in that playoff when we won 4-0 out in Estonia in the first leg.
Amazing. We don't normally go into football side of things on this show, but it'd be interesting to know. I think he is massively underrated defender for you in the especially Premier League. Do you think he's underrated? He's not really appreciated for what he was.
He certainly never let down the international team, and I mean he played for many big clubs. I think at the start, let's say when he was a younger lad, I think he may not have been seen as the most reliable person, maybe. As a centre half, it's obviously a very key position, but he grew into it, and he got stronger and stronger and stronger as time went by. He was a beast. He was very fast for a big man, and he'd certainly be one of my favourite defenders. Like you don't get to play for years and years at clubs like Everton and City and stuff without knowing what you're at. And I think he got City's Player of the Year 2 or 3 or maybe even 4 times in a row. So I mean, he was rated by fans, and that's generally where you get the plaudits from.
Exactly. I don't know about you, Dom. Obviously, Dom and myself are Mancunian, so I know a lot of City fans that talk very, very highly of him. He's
Yeah.
really rated by City fans, which is,
Yeah.
you know, considering what they are now, and you know, the talk fondly of those players that were just there before he kind of kicked on and become massive cheats. I mean, a massive great cheats.
You should probably say alleged cheats.
Alleged. Yeah, alleged. Obviously, that won't make the edit, so it's fine. Dom, let's come to you next on it, and it was 4th place for you on this shirt. Yeah,
For me,
just because of the Sharpie number 5. Is that what it was?
No, it's because it's fucking mustard. I love Tailored by Umbro, like adore, as you can see.
You know.
Not least of all, this is like, honestly, it's like nice pajamas. Like, it's just like gorgeous to wear as well. Like Johnny had said, that material that they use, I think it's the same as this as well. It's just, there's no other shirt that feels like these to wear. And I've had one of these with the long sleeve. The cuffs, obviously being that big chunky cuff as well, matching the collar, is sublime. And I think, not least of all, if you got the green and gold stripe or piping down the side that follows onto the shorts and as a full kit looks class. But the stitching across the shoulders and that's also one half of the stitching's green and one half of it's gold. So there's those little finer details as well, which are just majestic for me. The only gripe I've got, and I'd love an explanation for Johnny on it, is that the cut across the sleeve where you've got the addition for the long sleeve, is that because they're all made short sleeve initially, or
No. It was inspired from old school tailoring. It actually came from formal wear. It was actually formal shirts, button down shirts at one point used to have a seam in them there. So it actually came from that. So we just thought it would be a nice detail to put in there as part of the tailored story, but it wasn't for any function. It was more actually just for aesthetic and design.
Nice.
Well, look, that's thrown my thing out the fucking water. Now I love it even more. Yeah, it's those kind of insights which, you know, we wouldn't ordinarily get. So really appreciate that, and it's amazing to know. But yeah, a cracking shirt. I love it.
Yeah, I just love the old school feel of it. I think if you took the Umbro crest, the Umbro logo away and the badge, it just looks, you know, you can already hear the commentator, and done gets the ball across the halfway line like that. It just throws you back to those old school days. It's a fantastic shirt. Mike, let's finish off with you on this one. 7th place for you. So you know, pretty much spot on in where you've ranked it. Do you kind of agree the Tailored by Umbro was a great period for shirts and stuff?
Yeah, definitely. The Tailored, I've not had this one specifically, but the whole Tailored by Umbro, like the feel. I'm assuming this is the same, but it's the whole feel. Like you can almost, when you look at it, you can tell how it feels, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Just by looking at the shirt, you can just see how soft it is, and I think this is one of those ones. Seeing it with long sleeve, especially, elevates it that bit more, as well. The whole Tailored by Umbro, I'm in the same boat as Dom. It's just gorgeous, and it feels nice to wear, doesn't it? And
yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
I think the only one I had was the very last England shirt I ever got bought, was in 2010. Someone bought it for me. I didn't choose to buy it, and it's the away shirt. And I know it's like it's a blanket. It's just you're just wearing a blanket. They are really, really comfy. Bring it back, Umbro. We want some more Tailored by Umbro for sure. Let's get it back. Well, there we go then. Shirt number, joint 6, the 2010-2012 away shirt. Like I said, it was a set. Both come in joint 6. So 25 points. It is the home shirt, the home version of this. It is a short sleeve we've got on show. It was my 7th. My 6th place shirt. It's beautiful, isn't it? I mean, it's just the green version of that away. It's just absolutely fantastic. And Jay had this in 6th place also. And he kind of just reiterates what he said about the away shirt. It's very clean, classy. Love the accents, taping. Nice collar. Big fan is Jay. Dom, let's start with you on this one. I mean, it's just as sexy as the previous one, isn't it? That pretty much.
Yeah, the only thing I'm not massive on V-necks, but I think the marriage between this and the away are exactly what you would want it to be, and I imagine in designing them, the kind of synergy between obviously this being a bit more two-toned and then having the V-neck but still being the same ilk really marries well with the away as well. So yeah, anything tailored by Umbro is always going to score points for me. I'd be interested to know what the 100 is under the badge as well.
That was Robbie Keane's match shirt from his 100th cap, which was actually the first game in the new stadium against Argentina.
Nice.
Amazing.
Just says that like it's nothing.
I know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
You know,
mate,
that's
it's
good.
class.
I mean, he's got Robbie Keane's shirt from the World Cup. Of course, it's like, well, yeah, you know, is what it is. Mike, let's come to you next on it. And yeah, this one didn't score as high. It was, well, one place below. In 8th place, was it just a case of the away shirt kind of attracted you more?
Yeah, to be honest, the 2010s I could have switched them over easy because I had them paired up as well, didn't I? Yeah, it really nicely complements it. I think as a set, they look really nice together. I love the shade of green; it's brilliant. And yeah, it's hard to differentiate the two, knowing that they're both tailored by Umbro and they're both really classy designs. But I think the away just pips it for me.
Oh, the socks and that Northern Ireland, that's tailored by Umbro as well, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, the socks are something special. Johnny, let's finish off with you then on this one. And it was I'm just going to check, your 3rd place shirt.
Yeah,
on your list.
Love that shirt. Absolutely love that shirt. So it was our first iteration of the Irish shirt in the tailored by range, and I absolutely thought it was just. But we were planning for moving back to the new stadium, so there was a lot of things to be considered. And I was going back through the annals of Irish football history, and I found this amazing picture. Now, it was a black and white picture from the 1950s, and they were wearing obviously a clearly green shirt, but it was, bear in mind the picture was black and white, but you could see the white V-neck came down to about here. It was like right in the middle of the chest. So I was like, right, a V-neck. And the real thing that kicked out that the whole picture was, it was the first time that I'd seen like the Celtic hooped sock ever worn by Ireland. And I was like, we got to use that. That's just too good not to use. So probably the sock might be my favorite part of this whole kit, funny enough. So we had a bit of back and forth with the FAI about convincing them that it was the right thing to do. But when we launched this jersey, this kit, I don't think we've ever had a more positive reaction overall to any kit that we've ever done. It was absolutely phenomenal. And we brought in, as part of the kind of marketing more than anything else, because it's a little bit of bullshit, really, we brought in the top tailor in Ireland. I got him to come down to the squad and literally go around and measure everybody up, because if people remember that the sizes on the tailored by shirts weren't small, medium, large, extra large. They were done in your tailored numbers. So actually your chest sizes, so they were 40s, 42s, 44s. So we got everybody officially measured up. We made all these videos of the background stuff, and it just brought people on the kind of journey, and it made a great kind of launch platform and marketing story behind it. But I think it was certainly one of the best selling kits that we ever had, and it's a real shame. I hate that we didn't qualify in it, because it would have been a brilliant jersey, I think, on an international tournament stage. And that's kind of one of the only regrets of any of the shirts really that I have that didn't make it into a Euros or World Cup.
Yeah, it's a shame, because as a pair, absolutely stunning. They should have been there at World Cup for sure. There we go then. Joint 6 as well, 25 points. The 2010-2012 home shirt. Let's move on to number 5 and 26 points for this next shirt, and it is the 2012-2013 away shirt. 5th on my list. That stripe is absolutely. I'm excited for the story on that stripe. I want to know everything about it, the ins and outs. But yeah, 5th for me. It's absolutely beautiful. The number under the Umbro logo is sensational as well. But yeah, let's get into the rankers. And Jay had this one in 4th place for Jay. It's interesting to see what he says. He says, "Love the simple color, the sash design." The sash has that beautiful detail in it as well. It's just fantastic. He says, Johnny, let's hear from you. and get the story behind this shirt. Because you had this one in 7th place, it was for you. But yeah, what's the story behind it?
Yeah, so obviously when you qualify for a tournament, I've played around with various colors, blacks, oranges, grays, and stuff with away kits. But I always feel that when we go on to the international stage in terms of a tournament, that we should have a green home kit and a white away kit, because that's what we're expected to turn up in. Now, I mean, if I had done it for much longer and we had qualified, we might have got orange into that cycle at some stage. But I mean, it was really about going back to white, and we hadn't qualified. That was for Euro 2012, and we hadn't qualified for anything since the World Cup in 2002. And we'd lost a load of playoffs, and it was classic heartbreak, losing in playoffs all the time for Ireland. So I wanted to do something really strong, and I wanted to kind of represent the fans in this as well. And one of my favorite details in this is if you look in the back neck collar, and it has it's basically the scarf effect. That's the most popular kind of scarf that most of the fans would wear to games. The green, white, and orange with the bars broken up. And I really wanted to fit that in somehow, and just came up with the idea of sticking it in the back neck, and I thought it'd be, a classic. And I think that it gives amazing shelf appeal, because it's when it's on a hanger. I mean, that's what you notice, and you pick up the details. So the stripe effect that runs down through I had seen around that time, I had actually seen some horizontal sash type designs, but with one of the things, and I'm not a big fan of tiptoeing around things in general, but you couldn't do a sash on a Republic of Ireland shirt because of the connotations of some things that would be in Northern Ireland. Mm-hmm. So I liked the idea of a stripe, but how do you incorporate it in? So I wanted to, rather than it being a printed stripe, I wanted to do something different. So I chose a rib. So it's a full rib material, which looks totally different to the kind of perforated Airtex type material that's used on the as poly on the main body. So it stands out very differently. And I wanted to obviously use a couple of colors, a couple of different shades of green in there, which I suppose helped inform some of the later jerseys, as I discussed with Fields and stuff like that. So you try and use the 40 shades of green thing sometimes. So we tried out a few designs, and it didn't line up. Obviously, it's not asymmetric, but by the same token, it allowed us to do something a bit different, like put the number under the Umbro Diamond logo then as well. And the reason I probably have this a little bit lower than it should be is, unfortunately, we didn't get many great results in that. We had a bad tournament. We were actually in a poison group, a bit like the qualifying group we have at the moment. We were in with France and Italy and Croatia. And obviously Italy and Spain went on to the final out of our group. So we were always going to be up against it. But I think results in a lot of fans' heads determine how they feel and remember shirts. And this is probably not as high up as it should have been in terms of pure aesthetic and design. I think it's really, really strong. But because of the bad results, it's not remembered that way.
So it's a shame when, like some shirts, obviously. Personal experience being a Manchester United fan the last 10 years, every shirt I can't own pretty much. It's all...
Well, you know what I think of from a design point of view, I would have absolutely loved to see Man United and Celtic particularly in the tailored by Umbro jerseys. Oh. That stuff could have been amazing.
Oh. Yeah, it would have been one of yeah. Oh yeah. Imagine a 68 type blue Man United shirt tailored by Umbro in that lovely.
It just would have been. It would have been phenomenal stuff.
With tiny little black accents as well.
Oh yeah.
Come on.
What could have been? What could have been?
There you go. Got something to dream about tonight, lads.
I'm gonna have to get. Is it Museum of Jerseys does the Fantasy Kit Friday?
Yeah.
Where you put a suggestion to them. That's going right
great one,
there.
Yeah, well, tell him if he does United for you, he needs to do Celtic for me, and then I'll score him harshly.
Brilliant, Mike. Let's come to you then on this shirt. It was 4th place for you.
Yeah, I really like the different shades of green, and I think that's something that I'd like to see more of. Like you said about the 40 shades of green, I really like that design aspect. And yeah, so for me, this was always going to be quite high up for me because I love how that's been incorporated. Yeah. And again, this is just going to turn into a tailored by Umbro love in here. because once again, it's fantastic. You could sleep with that shirt, couldn't you? Let's be frank.
with it on, mate. Yeah, that's what you said.
Yeah, I told you, it's like
definitely. Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, definitely. That's what I meant. Nothing else going on with that shirt.
Don't be soiling the memory of my beautiful shirt here now. Literally or physically.
Yeah, don't buy anything used from me.
Yeah.
Oh Jesus.
Swiftly moving on. Dom, it was where was it for you, mate? It was 9th on your list.
Yeah. I think obviously I'm a big advocate for the badge like being the most prominent element of the shirt, and with this it kind of the design, whilst I like that and the shades of green are really nice, I think to take away slightly from a little further back, I think on field, it could well be that the badge looks a little bit lost within the stripe, given the base color. Now, if there was able to be, any kind of change with it, certainly, obviously being in an away shirt, we saw on the 2022 on that orange kind of remake, got like a black base to the badge. I think if there was a different color and it was, flipped between white and green, it would just stand out that little bit more for me. And that's the only thing I'm not majorly on board with, because everything else is really good. I love the piping on the sleeves, and then the kind of, it almost looks as though the piping within the collar is whilst you'd expect it to be on the outer edge of the collar, it's not. It's kind of concealed within the neckline and only comes out once it's on around the outer bit, well, the inside bit there, which I think is a really nice element to tie in with the sleeves. So yeah, just the fact that the badge kind of gets a little bit lost for me, but love the fact that the numbers were moved across under the umbro, so as that the main design element could speak.
Yeah, absolutely spot on, mate. Yeah, a lovely shirt, definitely one of my favorites. So there we go. The 2012-13 away shirt coming 5th on our list this week with 26 points. Okay, let's move on to our next shirt swiftly. And number 4, 29 points overall. It's a big one. It is this. It's the 2002-2003 home shirt. Yeah, 4th for me. I mean, it had to be. Perfect. I absolutely love it. It reminds, like we spoke about, the World Cup and everything that happened there, and yeah, it's just a fantastic shirt. It brings up a lot of memories for me being a young kid watching that World Cup at silly times in the morning. Going through the rankers that aren't here, and Jay, there's only one. Jay had it in second. This was second place for Jay. Great memories for Ireland fans, and the kit is wicked. I really like the exposed stitching all over. I love the thin black lines in the cuffs and sleeves as well. Yeah, and Dom, we'll finish off with you. Let's start off with you with this one, and it was 5th for you on your list.
Yeah, I think a lot of these were fairly interchangeable across the top 5, because there's so much alike. I think the collar and cuffs, the exposed stitching as well, the paneling is really nice to see. And it kind of reminds me of those shirts that you go, oh, that's reversible. It looks like it might have another little treat on the inside, but the font as well, the name set. I'd be really interested to know like how much of an input like Johnny and his team would have had in that, and where some of the inspiration comes for those elements as well, because they kind of tie in really well with the stitching. It looks like the stitching is across the number as well, which is class. But yeah, so many great memories of it, and I think to wear the great as well. Once you can fit your big fat head through the neck, once you pop through, and you're like, oh yes, and it just feels nice on. I've got a lot of time for this. Only downside being the fact that my top 4, I just adore that bit more.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Two things I really love about this shirt as well. I forgot to mention. One, you mentioned the font. I love my favorite part of it is the shadowing on it. It just adds, slaps you in the face, and also as well, the fact the World Cup patch was stitched and it's not like a patch. It was actually stitched into the shirt, which I think was, for me,
It's
amazing.
it's actually a heat-on flock, believe it or not.
Oh, is it? Oh,
Yeah,
I
it's
always
flock.
thought it was stitched in. No way.
Yeah,
It's
no.
good.
Some other teams use printed versions of it. We actually used the flock because the people who we were sourcing ours from, we decided we were sourcing the fixture details there that you can see. That's the Saudi Arabia versus Ireland details, and that was a flock as well. It was before I don't know why we used flock as opposed to embroidering it, but we got them to do the same thing with the badge on the sleeve. So the World Cup badge and the font were actually both in flock.
Oh, well, we learn something new every day. But I still think it's a lot better than having that white patch with it on. I think it looks part of the shirt, which is a lot better for me. Mike, then we'll come to you next on it. And it was 9th place for you. And
I had this quite low down, and I think I'm showing
Roy
my age
Keane,
here a little bit.
Is that what it is? It's all about Roy Keane.
No, it's not even, to be fair, because I was 4 years old in this tournament. I think sorry. I think if I'd have experienced it and knowing and like my love for Roy Keane now, I think it would have been completely different story. But I just don't, like you mentioned, every single one of you guys have mentioned the memories of it, and for me, they're just not really there. So I'm sorry, guys, but the name set's the big thing that stands out for me here because the font is just so.
It's like people saying to me, "Oh, do you miss your grandma?" I'm like, I didn't really know.
There you go. Like
I'm sure she was lovely.
Yeah. She looks nice in all the photos I've seen. But
yeah, exactly. But I can't get upset when they do. So yeah, I know what you mean.
Mike, is it past your bedtime? Is it?
I'll tell you what, it's getting there. It's getting there.
Brilliant. Anything else, Mike, for you on this one?
Yeah, again, the name set, I just love it. It's so unique, and it just stands out so much, doesn't it? And I'd like you, Dom, I'd love to hear more about it.
Yeah.
Well, let's go to the man himself. Johnny, you had it in 6th place, this one. But yeah, tell us the story about what is a phenomenal kit for the Republic of Ireland.
Yeah, well, I couldn't leave out, I suppose, the only shirt that I've ever designed that went into a World Cup, so I had to get that in there somewhere. But I can't take credit for the number design. I didn't actually do that one. That was a generic Umbro number around that time, and from memory, Sweden used it. I know Celtic certainly used it in Europe. Because I remember a lot of Henrik Larsson's shirts had that same number with black on the back. We used it for Shamrock Rovers, I think, when they were in Europe too. So I don't know who's responsible for that one, but it did work very well with the ultimate design that we picked here. We were kind of somewhat minimalistic and just let the basic detailings like the contrast stitching stand out to make the panels and stuff like that. It's funny looking back now, but I mean, that was back in the days when every single player was just issued with XL and they all wore huge jerseys and oversized shorts. And it's so different now looking back at them. But it is quite funny. But I mean, as I said, had to go in there from my point of view as one of my 2 World Cup designed and worn shirts. And unfortunately, last time Ireland actually got to a World Cup, so it's still the last shirt we wore at a World Cup.
Yeah, so just a quick. So that shirt in that picture, is that the shirt that's literally right behind you now?
All the players had 2 shirts, and they all, because of the heat and the humidity and everything, they all changed at half time. And Robbie actually swapped his jersey, one of the German players at the end, but I have his first shirt.
Right. But still,
it's close. It's not a cigar.
It's no less impressive, let me tell you. No, absolutely brilliant. So there we go then, the 2002-2003 home shirt for Ireland. Obviously, South Korea and Japan World Cup 2002. Absolutely brilliant with 29 points, 3 shirts left to go. And it really is just like, take your pick. Personally, I mean, there's one clear, well, I say one clear winner, but there's 2 separated a little bit. Number 3, 36 points overall from our rankers, and it is this one. And it's the 98-2000 away shirt. Third for me. I think the 2 above it just had to be the 1 and 2 for me, but this is absolutely sensational, and I'm sure we'll discuss it in great length. Let's go through the rankers. And Jay had this in 5th. I'm interested to know why he had it in 5th. Do you know what? Oh no, he's there. There it is. Lovely classic kit. Love the flag coloured tapings. He said he's not a fan of the diamond in the collar. I think he said. Fair one. Johnny, let's start with you on this one. I think let's get this because I mean, Ireland in black is sensational. I have to say, it's something really special. The sad thing is, as you'll tell us, not worn, so I can't get a picture of a player wearing it, which is really, really upsetting. But no, please tell us the story on this fantastic football shirt, please.
Yeah, unfortunately, never worn by the senior team. It was worn by the underage teams. I think it was a bit of conservatism, really, by the old boys on the old FAI board back at the time. They were just like, "Oh, what will happen if we wear black?" And it's like, Jesus Christ, don't worry about it. Like, so we convinced them to get into orange a while before that. So I'm not really sure where the switcheroo came from. But that was. I think that was actually the last jersey that we manufactured in Ireland as well, by the way. So there's a nice little story to that as well. Before most of the manufacturing had closed here, we still made the Ireland jerseys here from 94 to somewhere around 99 or something like that. And around this time, obviously, this was when Man United's 99 shirt with the taping and all that sort of stuff was around. So we decided to change the taping, a bit like Chelsea actually had a shirt with the tonal blue on blue taping around the same time, and we decided to go with black on black. The idea of black was just people were starting to get a bit more experimental with their away shirts, more so on club football than international. In general, to be fair, but we wanted to propose something different, and we found that the green and the orange would pop so well out of the black background, and one of my favorite elements is the Irish tricolour on the in the rib material on the end of the sleeves as well, which come out from under the material. They're stitched in underneath it, so all in all, kind of a shiny black material. And that linear Umbro logo that was used at the time, and one of our classic badges as well, with the classic crest there as well. So great jersey. Real shame it was never worn by the senior team, but again, a massive collector's piece these days because I suppose when they weren't worn, they did. It wasn't a massive seller because it wasn't seen on the backs of the players, but they're very much sought after these days when they come up.
So it's on my list, I have to say. Massively.
Yes, on mine as well. It's on mine first, Johnny. So if you say that, don't go to him, come to me.
Yeah, I actually have a long sleeve one and I have a short sleeve one.
Oh, God.
I mean, whichever you're happy to give me, mate, I'll be more than happy to.
Wait, the long sleeve. What's the cuff like on the long sleeve?
Oh, you're testing me now. I think it might be orange.
Oh God!
Wow. I mean,
right. When we're done, I'd love to see some pictures of that.
Yeah, I'll stick a picture up on Twitter or something later of it to show you, right?
Yeah, please, that'd be amazing. Fantastic shirt. I mean,
that taping all the way down,
amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Now, Umbro in the 90s, honestly, no brand come close. Not what Adidas, Nike, Kappa. They beat everyone. They beat everyone.
Banger after banger after banger. I mean, it was special, and they did have such an array of teams. They had a huge amount of teams at the time, and it was really before Nike came into at Yeah. And I kind of jokingly used to say Nike should have just. They did ultimately at one point buy Umbro, but at the start they spent so much time effectively targeting Umbro teams. And took kind of it started with Brazil and then ultimately Man United, Celtic, England, City. They took Inter Milan. They were all Umbro teams, and it probably would have been cheaper for them to buy Umbro in the first place and take over the whole thing. But Umbro made some absolutely brilliant football shirts. And like, even people don't realize, do you remember the drill tops, the drill material, which is starting to be worn as more a fashion item again now? Like, Umbro invented that material, and the pro training stuff, the original pro training stuff in the mid-90s, that was just off the chains. Like, players would not wear it now today because it was much heavier, but it was revolutionary at the time. It was so different, and that stuff was literally indestructible. You still see guys going around in pro training sweats from 30 years ago, and there's not a bother on them.
Yeah.
That
Absolutely.
pro training logo was class as well.
Yeah,
I used to love that. One of my favorite. They've recently brought it back out with a version of it. The Adidas, the jacket that Fergie wore, that jacket they've just recently brought out. But do you remember the Umbro one that he had? The big, long. Oh, that was absolutely.
Yeah, there's actually, if I remember correctly, there's an episode of Father Ted where Ted is coaching like these over 90s football team or something. I'm pretty sure he's wearing the Umbro jacket in that.
Don't surprise me. They were absolutely fantastic. Dom, let's come to you on this one then. Let's get your thoughts on this because it was your second place shirt.
Mate, I had such a fucking headache trying to choose which one was going to go first. You could swap them, and I'd have no qualms about it whatsoever. Yeah. The fact that now I know this has got like a long sleeve version, I think it's easily my number one. I'd be interested to know the design choice on the collar, but I think that marries quite well with the Umbro logo. I like that.
No, that's what it was from. That's what the idea behind it was. It was meant to be an Umbro diamond.
Mega. And I think, like Johnny said, the fact that the black base allows the green and the orange to absolutely scream at you is phenomenal. And the fact that, whilst there's those elements, it's the crest, which is the most prominent point, which is always key for me. And I think the collar and cuffs having the Irish flag on them it's second to none whenever international teams do that above all else.
Yeah. Absolutely, for sure. Mike, let's finish off with you then on this one, because this was your number one, my friend.
Yeah, had it number one. Yeah, the thing it reminded me most of was the recent Venezia shirt, because I thought it was like a tidier version of that.
It does look a bit
a less scarish version, anyway. It's a beautiful shirt. I think. For me, one of my gripes about international shirts, especially older ones, is maybe they stick too much to the colours.
Oh, yeah.
So when they try and experiment with something like this, I just love it. And it's a beautiful combination of colours.
Yeah, it's right what Johnny's saying. You think of England with a grey in '96 and, Ireland with a black. It's absolutely fantastic. Honestly, it's a serious shirt. It's just missing right now a picture of Dennis Irwin or Roy Keane wearing it. Honestly, if I have one of them two wearing this, that'd be fantastic. Oh, Dennis Irwin taking a free kick wearing this. You know what I mean?
Now, pen.
No, free kick. Like his free kick at Anfield when he was not one player in the box. Honestly, what a guy. Anyway.
That's what ChatGPT is for.
I'm gonna get it after the show now. I'm gonna get straight on it, Johnny. Honestly, right. Number 3 on our list, then 36 points overall. It's a 98 2000 away shirt. Let's get straight into number 2 then. Separated by just 3 points, number 2 and number 1. Really, really close. So with 44 points then overall, our number 2 shirt is this. Johnny's got it right behind him. It's the 96-98 away shirt. It was second on my list. I look at it and all I see is, I think I've got a picture to show. It's Roy Keane with all that hair. Honestly, that's the first thing. It's the first thing I think of when I look at it. Roy Keane with all that hair that he used to have. It's fantastic. That beautiful, it reminds me of the United shirts at the same time as well. The blue one that we had, the third shirt, I think it was. It's just beautiful template, and I love it. The colours are just absolutely stunning. Jay had this one in. This was Jay's number 1. A classic. The orange colour is so bold, and I love it. The geometric stripes and hidden island flag is class. That come into the kit. The collar is just, and he's giving me 2 emojis like this. So it's safe to say he's a massive fan. Mike, let's start with you on this one. It was third for you this week, so. Just the other 2 were just...
I think the top 3 are real strong contenders here, I think. All 3 of them. Like, you can barely split them. The colour on this just... Bloody hell, it's giving me an aneurysm looking at it. But in a good way. In a good aneurysm, if there's such a thing. And I love the flag as well. That's a gorgeous little detail. Just everything about it. It's like the perfect kind of 90s shirt almost. Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Dom, third for you as well. Yeah, I know similar ages, so it just screams Roy Keane, doesn't it? It has to scream Roy Keane to you.
Yeah, with that big permy looking wig.
I think I've got it here.
Mustard.
Look at that picture. Look at his face. My favorite thing about this, I had about 3 pictures of him, and then I saw this one. And I was like, "Oh no, it's got to be that. It's got to be that picture."
That's Mike's tailored by Umbro face.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. That's been my face on the inside with most of these.
I think that's Mike climbing into bed with that other jersey face.
You're not wrong, boys. You're not wrong.
But yeah, mate, it absolutely screams like Rams 90s down your throat. I think the varsity style number as well has always been my favorite on any shirt, like 90s or otherwise. I think it is just crazy, and I love that about it. The fact that, you know, as a template, I'm not sure which other teams, you know, use that design, but the fact that you've got the island flag within that part of the template design is class. I think obviously you could have gone full mental and gone with like orange shorts, but I think the contrast with the black ties in so well with the sleeves as well. But yeah,
I think we needed something to tone it down a little bit.
There's a load of traffic cones running everywhere, like, oh shit. But no, I adore it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's absolutely fantastic, mate. Honestly, Janet, really, really, really keen, Roy Keane, to hear the story on this shirt. So for you, it was where did you have this one? It was second for you on the list. It's just tell us about it, because it's honestly stunning.
Yeah, well, it was kind of revolutionary, because we'd never had anything since the way kits were introduced in international football. We had always just had white, so there had never been anything different before. So it was revolutionary. It really was, and there's no better way to break your duck than going full mental on it. So. So it was. I didn't design this as such, because it was a template that Umbro wanted to run throughout the range at that time. So you're right in saying Man United had it. I think Forest might have had an away kit in it. There was definitely other teams that had that jersey at the time.
Inter,
who?
I think Inter had one similar, didn't they?
Maybe, yeah. There possibly was. There might have been even was it Napoli or Ajax or somebody as well? I don't know. There was definitely a few teams had one.
Yeah.
I think Ajax had a grey one, grey with red.
I think it's blue, white, and red. I think the Ajax one was. Yeah.
So it was around, but what I did pick was the colours, and obviously the panels. So I picked which colours went into which panels, and obviously that's where I snuck in the Irish flag on stuff under both the arms as well. So, but you're right, it was full 90s rave, dance, techno, mayhem, and it was a great shirt. And it's just a shame that, I suppose now looking back, I mean, it doesn't matter so much now, but it was a shame that we lost in it, but it kind of made it more infamous, you know, that Jason McAteer kung fu kicked your man nearly and got sent off and got beaten 3-2, even though we'd had all the ball and should have won about 9-3. But it was a great kit, and it remains iconic and one of probably the most discussed kits that we've ever had right to this day, which is obviously 25 plus years later. And that's why I brought back the orange jersey a couple of years ago, because it was the 25th anniversary of that jersey. So we brought it back, and I cannot describe the relief that when we won in it the first time we wore it. Like,
it's not cursed.
I'm not going to get all the shit now from people saying, "Oh, never orange again." So, but it was. That's why we brought it back. It was a 25th anniversary, but we were paying tribute to that one from '96 or so.
Did you get any pushback before it came out? The original.
The original.
Was there any doubts?
There was the usual kind of pushing back and forward with the association on things, and you're always trying to nudge them along, and you're saying, look lads, we're kind of writing the checks here and we kind of know what we're doing, so just trust us on it, you know. In the end we got it through, and most people only think we wore it that once against Macedonia. We actually wore it a second time in a kind of end of season friendly against Mexico in Dublin. So we actually wore it at home in a game, but nobody ever remembers that one.
What was the players' response to it?
There wasn't any players at that stage were wearing crazy kits for their clubs all the time. So there was like, they just got on with it. You know, people always say, well, what's the players' reactions? They don't care. They really don't care. I mean,
I think by that point as well, it's not as though they've got an input in the design.
Yeah, like, I mean, the only one who was ever kind of had any meaningful interactions with me, and I would have known most of the Irish players quite well over the last 30 years. The only one who actually wanted an input was kind of Darren Randolph to some degree. But that was more because he didn't want to wear colours like pink or orange or blah, blah, blah. He just wanted to have toned down dark colours all the time. And for some reason, he kept thinking I was forgetting this every time he saw me. So he kept telling me about it all the time. So it's kind of, but by and large, players, it's a bit like the jerseys they wear themselves. They don't really give a shit. And then years later, they go, oh, I should have kept more. I should have kept more of my jerseys, or I shouldn't have swapped this one or that one or the other. But it doesn't matter to them at the time.
No. Can we just appreciate the Diodora boots as well? Fantastic. 90s Diodora boots were spot on, honestly. Number 2 on our list then, the 96 to 98 away shirt. Not much more needs to be said. Just an absolute stunning classic of a shirt and a kit. I mean, look at them shorts as well. Fantastic. Means we've got one shirt and one shirt only. And it is our number 1. 3 points away from a full house. 47 points overall from our rankers. No one had it outside the top 3. And deserving winner, I say. And it is this. It's the 2021 Ireland anniversary shirt. My number 1. Had to be my number 1. Jay had it in 3rd. Great anniversary kit, homaging the past perfectly. The old badge is something else, and the blue is absolutely lovely. I think there's only one man that we can have start off on this.
Right,
shirt.
so
probably not the fella in the England shirt.
Yeah, definitely not the fella in the England shirt. Definitely not. Johnny, obviously, we need to have you tell us all about this fantastic, beautiful, and amazing shirt. It was your number 1, rightfully so. So tell us the story behind it. We're really interested to know.
So it was obviously the 100th anniversary of the FAI. It was their association. There's a long and storied history of the Irish Football Association, which was originally the sporting body for both Ireland and Northern Ireland, but before there was the separation effectively of the split of the two countries. And the Civil War and all that sort of stuff. So football used to be run out of Belfast, and what was happening at the time, all the international matches really would have been up there.
Oh no!
Did it stall?
Yeah, he stalled a bit then. Yeah.
Okay. Do you want me to start that bit again?
Yeah, can start again. Yeah, no problem.
Okay, so it was the 100th anniversary of the association. And even though football had been played for a much longer time in Ireland, it was under the auspice of the IFA, which was run out of Belfast. So this was prior to the Civil War and the split between the two countries. So the first international tournament where the FAI had become an association, and it was actually called the Irish Free State Football Association, was we got invited to the 1924 Olympics. But the association was set up in 1921, but they didn't actually have any games because of Civil War and bits and pieces that were going on in Ireland until the 1924 Olympics, which were in Paris. And we were playing, if memory serves now, I would have known this a couple of years ago when I was doing this for sure, but I'm pretty sure we played Bulgaria. And Bulgaria, in a really funny way, just one of these quirks of history, they actually wore green. So we ended up wearing blue. And blue was actually the Irish colour. Like St. Patrick's blue is actually the national colour of Ireland. Everybody thinks that it's green, obviously, but our actual national colour going back for years and years and years is St. Patrick's blue. If you look on, like for example, the carpet in our government, the carpet is that shade of blue. So that's actually our national colour. So I wanted to obviously pay a respect to even though now technically, again, you have to bear in mind this is an Irish story with Irish weird little quirks in it. But so the association was set up in 1921. We celebrated 100 years in 1921, but the first game was in 1924. So it's one of these funny little things that goes on. So, but in our first ever game, historically accurate, I actually saw the program, and the program is in French. And in the middle, it says blue Marriott shirts and black. We wore black shorts and blue socks. So for years, since I had heard about that, for years and years and years, I was like, when it gets to the centenary, I am doing a St. Patrick's blue shirt. And so I had this in the back of my head for such a long time. And I did discuss it about 5 or 6 years ago on, it wouldn't have been a podcast. It was an interview at one of the radio stations or something here. And people were kind of, even when it happened, and I'd been telling the story to people for ages, so many people were not aware of, and people went, now this is where people did go ballistic. So what the hell are we doing wearing blue? And they didn't get it. They heard the story then when they kind of backfilled the information on themselves. So I started a hashtag, if you know your history, which also I got shot down by many people. They didn't like being told what to do or being informed about things. But why this is my favorite jersey, I think, is because one, it's so unique and probably will never happen again. But two, is because I got to design the crest for this. So that's what kind of makes it stand out above all for me. I kind of also I went back to that. If anybody's had one or felt one of these shirts, it's actually like the tailored by Umbro collection.
Yeah.
It's cotton feel, but it's a performance polyester, so it feels really nice to have on and stuff. But just that simple 1921 in gold on the back neck yoke embroidered on, and then that beautiful 3D raised shamrock in the old school kind of shield with it's almost a broken gold embroidery. So I got them to use a technique which like a modern embroidery would be perfect, and I got them to use a kind of shattered old style technique of embroidery with the gold that embroiders the badge on, because it makes it look more fit for purpose for the time.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, yeah, it's fantastic, isn't it? It's absolutely rightfully number one on the list. Let's go through the other two rankings. Who would like to talk about it first? Dom, should we come to you? Do you want to talk about it?
I mean, yeah. Well, I'd be dying to. The badge above all else, the crest, and like Johnny says, the kind of the raised nature of it. It seems like it isn't that much of a consideration for performance factor, and it shouldn't be. To get that level of detail in it, and to see how pronounced those leaves are on the shamrock, it's just gorgeous. And like Johnny says, the kind of broken old style of the stitching around the crest, as he says, looks fit for purpose. It should be, and I think any kind of throwback, I think all too often the tendency is to add modern touches or play it a little too safe. I think to hark back to something, you've got to raise the most prominent features, and the club, the international crest, should always be the main feature. And short of obviously what I'm sure is just a requirement to have the number in white, I think.
Yeah, that took something slightly away from it, but there's nothing you can do about that. To wear it on field, you had to do that. So
yeah, I think the Umbro logo being in the same hue is gorgeous. The chunky like cuffs, and obviously if it's as Johnny says, it's similar to what would be the best Umbro shirts in the tailored by range. It's stunning, absolutely stunning. That's it.
Right. No, you're absolutely right, and there's no mistake. Umbro had that massive resurgence, didn't they? That last few years, they've really come back and shown themselves again to be, one of the greatest sort of manufacturers of football shirts, and this just marries with that absolutely. Mike, it was only the 98 2000 shirt that beat out for you, but like you said, any of these top three could have been interchangeable at any given moment for you. So, yeah, what are your thoughts on the anniversary shirt?
I'll tell you what, it's a class shirt, but just listening to Johnny like talk about the history behind it and everything, it's just brilliant. And to know that sort of you've designed it with all this thought going into it, I think that just kind of adds to it even more, because I think a lot of anniversary shirts sometimes they don't hit the mark because maybe they're incorporating modern elements or this, that, and the other. But hearing your explanation behind all the little details, that's perfect, mate. That's brilliant. And yeah, it's a class shirt. The badge, the simplicity of it, yeah, safe.
I like the green on the socks and the keeper shirt as well.
And we did the shorts in an off-white, because back then in manufacturing 100 years ago, you couldn't make white because there was no way of dyeing material that bright. So we did a kind of off-white shirt, and what was not really noticed, because those shorts never went on sale, was not only was the Umbro logo tonal, but the Shamrock crest is there as well, but that's tonal on the shorts as well. So it's a really, really cool finish.
Is it all in the off-white?
Yeah, it's all just embroidered tonal, the same as the.
Wow.
So the Umbro obviously was in the blue on the shirt. The fixture detail under the crest was in blue, but then we went with the tonal kind of slightly off-white or cream embroidery on the cream shorts as well.
Like a white-out version of that crest.
Yeah.
I'd love to see that.
Yeah, it's hard to make out in that picture, but if you go looking online at the Ireland Qatar game, I'm sure you'll get a good picture of it.
No way.
Yeah,
what you doing there, mate?
That's the Umbro one.
Yeah, it's just around the other side of his leg.
On the other side of his thigh, his massive thigh. Unfortunately. I mean, well, there we go. I mean, what a 10. What a shirt to finish it off with. Rightly so. Have to be, like I say, the number one. Just 3 points away from a full house as well. I think he definitely deserved the full house this week, just to show that I do not cheat. There's the shirts and everyone scores. I like to spend my Wednesday afternoons sorting it out for you all. So there we go. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching. And we have to say a massive thank you, obviously, to Johnny for telling the stories. You know, it's easy for us to sit around and tell us why we like shirts and the reasons, you know, they mean a lot to us. But for the person that's had a say in pretty much all of them, and to tell us the stories on why the designs came to be and the inspiration, has been absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much, Johnny. We really do appreciate your time.
No problem.
It's been fantastic.
No, I really enjoyed it, and I'm more than happy if you ever want me back on. If I didn't do too much talking, I'd be more than happy to come back on and help you guys with anything in the future as well. Really enjoyed it.
I'd love to see Johnny come on a Full Kit Rankers where he's not rating his own babies. He's slagging off someone else's. I'd love to get, as previously, I've always loved getting designers on here to get their technical insight and understanding. Yeah,
absolutely.
And boys.
I'd love to do Desert Island kits as well. Get you to narrow 5 down to take away to a desert island. That'd be even better. So you've had to do it to 10, get you down to 5.
I have some interesting ones in my collection that I can show you then, which aren't Ireland ones necessarily, but.
Yes,
there's a brilliant story about one of the shirts behind me, which is on the floor, which you can't see, but I maybe save that story for another day.
Yes, please. That'd be amazing. Dom, thank you so much for being here again, mate. And, thank you you arranged this episode. So thank you so much, mate. It's, you've done a sterling job. Thank you.
Loved it. Obviously, although I've gone with a tailored by England shirt, I've got family from County Mayo, Irish heritage as well. So love the shirts that we featured, obviously the insight that we've managed to get from Johnny as well, and I really appreciate him coming on, and certainly don't mind that the episode's overran. Don't mind at all. Could not care less. I could have sat here literally all night.
Yeah, and let me tell you, I'm not editing any of this. I'm the end, the little bits, and that's it. It's staying as this.
Yeah, it's not like Irish people to keep talking at all.
Absolutely not. Mike, Iconic Kits involved in an iconic episode. Thank you for being here, mate. It's been a
pleasure. Yeah, it's been brilliant to hear all the stories behind it as well.
Yeah. That's your bedtime now. Straight off to bed.
Yeah, straight off to bed with my tailored by Umbro.
I can guarantee there's plenty of those which I haven't got now on the hunt.
Yeah, absolutely. But thank you everyone for stopping by. Honestly, let us know what you thought of the 10 shirts, and just let us heap the praise on Johnny, because I mean, I think it's a dream of all of ours to be able to design shirts. But I have someone here who can tell us some of the most iconic kits for Ireland. Has been an absolute pleasure. Yeah, smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, share it with your kit loving friends. We'll see you on the next one. As always, though, whatever you do, just make sure you keep talking kit.